I was a walking skeleton. Like I was a ghost. Not because I didn't look good, not because I looked fatigued, but because you shouldn't even be standing right now. How do you feel? I feel fine. I feel the same way I've been feeling. I don't feel any different. I feel fine. I should have been crawling. A lot of people can't walk by themselves. People feel their hearts are racing. I didn't feel nothing. And I was at 6 for weeks. Not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, like 6 weeks. Hey Cincinnati, welcome back to my channel. I have been gone for so long, but a lot has happened. So let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about fibroids. So last year in April, I started getting symptomatic. I was working out every day, doing everything that I need to be doing. And one day when I was working out at the gym, I got super faint. Like I was doing deadlifts, and I normally don't have an issue with weighted workouts or anything like that. And I'd already been working out for a while. Y'all, when I tell you, I feel like I was gonna pass out. I went to go try and do some cardio. Girl, I was struggling. So I didn't realize that was a symptom at the time. But it all makes sense when I get to where I'm getting to. So as I continue through life, I am having my menstrual period. Yes, I said menstrual period. So if you're young, or if you're a man, or if you're squeamish, this might not be the video for you. It might not. This is about uteruses and growths and blood, and it's about all of that. So feel free to leave. Go ahead and subscribe before you go, but feel free to leave. Anyway, having my menstrual period, and you know, they tell you that your menstrual should be like maybe 3-4 days, not too heavy. It actually gets lighter as you go along. Your second day is usually your heaviest. But you know, we've been having periods since 12, 13, sometimes younger for some women. I have never had periods like this. My periods were going from not that heavy to super heavy. From 3-4 days, 6 at the most to stop all discharge, to 15 days. 15. So, throughout that time, I'm also working from home. Thank God I've been working from home since COVID. So, I was working from home, and I would go during my breaks. I would have 2 15-minute breaks during the day. So at my 10:30 break that I have, I normally will take a shower just because it helps me wake up. I am a person that really likes water. I love hot water. Jacuzzis are like my favorite thing in the world. So it's just a peace type of thing for me. I'll go take a little shower, go about my day. Y'all, when I tell you, in the shower, I feel like we're gonna pass out. I will be cooking. You know, living day, I live by night. It's just me. I ain't got no man, it's just me. Try to cook for myself. Feel like I'm about to pass out. Trying to whip. Now, I don't know what's going on with this whipping motion, but this whipping motion right here, when you like bake in or make, baby. I feel like I was gonna pass out. So I'm sitting here like, well, maybe it's just what I'm eating. Maybe I'm eating the wrong things, or maybe I'm not eating enough. I think I am. I'm not getting enough nutrients. I didn't know what it was. I'm not drinking enough water. No. Sis, let me tell you what happened. My sister was like, hey, you should look up fibroids just in case. Some of your stuff seems like it might be some of that. Looked it up, self-diagnosed. You're darn sure I got fibroids. But you have to get proof of these things. I went to college for pre-med biology. And so I'm very good at kind of self-diagnosing. I'm very good at seeing, okay, this is this, that is that. I'm very good at being like, oh, well, it could be that, but I'm not going to subscribe to it just because I'm 2 out of 10 things. Not even 5. But when I tell y'all I was every single thing on that daggone list, I said, okay, I need to go get a scan so that I can have the proof of what I think is going on. And that's what I would recommend men as well. If you don't know what's going on with you and you have some type of self-diagnosis that you've done based on your research, go get the proof. Go get the test. Go ask the doctor. Go see. They're always going to ask questions. Well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? Let them know. They're going to do that. And there are some of them that get irritated when people come in because, you didn't go to school for this and y'all got all this information from Google. And, 7 times out of 10, someone self-diagnosing might be wrong. It could be. But you could also be right. So if you are right, go and see a doctor. Go and try and get some type of tangible proof about what you're talking about. And even if it's not right, they can probably tell you or help you with finding a solution or finding what the actual thing is that you're dealing with. So I went, scheduled an appointment with my OBGYN, ordered an ultrasound, and they did an ultrasound on me. Turned out that I did have fibroids. Said I had 3 of them. And so, if I have the picture, I'll upload the picture so that y'all can see it. But I definitely have other pictures and other videos and stuff. So please stay tuned to this video. This is going to be from beginning to end because I have already had surgery at this point. So, they tell me that I have fibroids. And I have a maternal grandmother that has had a cancer. So they were like, hey, I think you really need to go ahead and get a cancer gene screening test so that you can know, if you got the gene, XYZ. I wasn't really down for it because honestly, I feel like certain things like cancer, soy milk can cause cancer, cheese can cause cancer, air can cause, at this point, it's just between me and God. If I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to get cancer. I don't really need to know about this gene because I can have the gene and still not get cancer. It's kind of just like a waste. For me, it's like, for what? But what they told me about the screening is that, okay, well, if it so happens that you do have this or that you do have the gene, then it'll cover the cost of all of your screenings and different things that women were supposed to have done anyway. So it'll cover all that stuff instead of it being something that you have to pay for. So I was like, okay, girl, whatever. Cool. They sent that off to the lab. They also took more of my blood just for regular testing. So I go back to work, and I'm chilling, minding my business. It's about 3 o'clock maybe, and I get a call from my OBGYN office. And she's like, hey, so the doctor wanted me to call you and let you know that your hemoglobin level is at 6. So you need to go ahead and go to the hospital, go to the ER. And I'm like, what that means? It wasn't computing what that meant. You know what I mean? I went to college for pre-med for sure. But just like the doctors that y'all be paying for, everybody gotta look some stuff up. I didn't know what that meant. I ain't been studying. I ain't been to school for I don't know how long. She didn't give me no information. She just said, hey, hemoglobin at 6. Go to the ER. So I'm not understanding how serious the severity of the situation. I'm sitting here like, yo, I got 2 more hours left. I'm not trying to use my PTO or use my... That's what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to save hours and y'all want me to go to the ER. I'm like, can it wait till 5? Can it wait? Well, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay? I feel fine. I feel the same way I've been feeling at this point. That was in April. The same way I have been feeling for 2 months. And let me say this. Prior to me going to the doctor to get an ultrasound, I emailed because there was a portal. I sent an email in the portal to my last OBGYN. Excuse me, y'all. I just ate some Toscana soup, which was the bomb. Because I know how to make Toscana soup now. Anyway. So I asked my old OBGYN, I was like, hey, I'm having all these symptoms. I was super tired. I was fatigued. I felt like I was passing out. I was bleeding excessively. And I was bleeding for multiple days, longer than what was normal. I said, hey, I don't have an appointment for a month. The internet is saying that I need to go to the ER if I feel like I'm going to pass out. Is it okay for me to wait till my appointment, or do I need to go to the ER? She said, oh no, you should be fine. That's nothing that you should have to worry about right now. Go ahead and just wait till your appointment. I said, okay. my appointment. Fast forward back up to where we were. I went ahead and called my sister. I said, hey, they said this. I called my mom because I'm not driving. I don't have a car right now. I do have a license, just don't have a car. And I was like, hey, Mom, the doctor called me, said I need to go to the ER. Now, at this point, my whole family, my intermediate family that's close to me, they were aware of everything that I was going through. The fatigue, feeling like I'm going to pass out. They knew all that. So when I told my mom, she was like, okay, cool, that's fine. She got off work, and she came to come and get me. Called my sister. She was like, no, you need to go to the doctor, because I was still trying to stay at home so that I could work. She's like, no, you need to go to the doctor. You don't understand what's going on. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it to do what you're trying to do later. Your job does not care about you. If you die, someone else is filling your position. Go take care of yourself and go to the doctor. So I was like, okay. And we're a spiritual family. So she was also going into telling me spiritually, like, girl, no, I don't feel good with you. You need to go. Like, seriously, you need to go. So she was very emphatic about that. Called my aunt. My aunt is a registered nurse. She's not practicing right now, but she's a registered nurse. So I called her and I was like, hey, they're saying this. Do you think I need to go right now? And she's like, well, how are you feeling? I was like, I feel fine. I don't feel any differently than I have been feeling. And she's like, okay, well, I mean, you might be okay. That was the end of that. Called my my first lady and just talked to her, and she was like, okay, well, she first lady stuff. She said she would be praying for me. She said some other things, but that ain't none of your business. So she prayed for me, and my aunt called me back, and she was like, hey, matter of fact, no, I don't feel right in my spirit about you waiting. So go ahead and go to the doctor now. Please don't wait. It's super serious. You need to go. So I was like, okay, fine. Got to call my mom. Oh, before I got in the car with my mom, I'm telling y'all everything. Before I got in the car with my mom, I called the doctor back because the doctor's like, oh, we already sent your information over to the hospital. I am in a location where there's multiple hospitals. So I'm like, where did you send my information? Couldn't get back to the nurse. The front desk couldn't talk to the nurse. I'm like, yo, they just told me I had a 6 of hemoglobin and I need to go to the ER so I don't die. So I need y'all to either walk to the back and go find the nurse so that she can tell me where I need to go, because they said they already sent my information, or you're just going to be held liable. Because for some reason, things just don't be happening like this when you ain't threatening somebody. So she went to the back and I sent an email. The girl had emailed me back in the portal. What had happened was the actual nurse that works under this doctor, she was home sick with COVID, but she was able to work through the portal and work, virtually from her house. So that wasn't the same girl that called me. That was a different girl. Y'all gotta excuse me. I literally just ate the shit. So it's just burping. I'm so sorry. God bless you. So the lady, she called me and she was like, hey, okay, where do you want to go? And they asked me where I wanted to go. So I asked my aunt, and I'm like, hey, they're giving me these options for hospitals. Where should I go? She was like, go ahead and go here. And so I went there. And when I went there, or when I told the girl, she was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and put the order in now. So y'all telling me y'all already sent the order in, but y'all ain't never sent the order in. And it wasn't a case where I'm going to a different hospital. No, they had never sent the order in. Just the most. It was just the most. So, also at the appointment that I had the day before, I got a prescription for birth control. And we'll get into birth control after I finish the story about when I was hospital. So when I went to the ER, I walked up there to the desk. I'm like, I was behind 2 other people. So I talked to the lady once I got to the front of the line. And I was like, hey, the doctor told me to come here because I have a low hemoglobin, and they need me to get a transfusion. And she's like, okay, well, what are your hemoglobin levels? I said, I think it's 6.2 something. And she looked at me like I was a ghost walking. They looked at me. It was like an older African-American woman and a younger Hispanic woman. They looked at me like, huh? I said, yeah. She said, you're okay? I said, no, I'm fine. Do you need to wheelchair? No, I'm okay. I literally felt fine. I felt the same way I had been feeling. And it wasn't God is just so good. I felt fine. Not fine like now, post surgery and healthy, but I felt fine for the circumstance. I wasn't feeling anything different than how I've been feeling for 2 months. So they took me to the back. They took my blood pressure and stuff. Took me to the room. Got to the room. Was sitting there. My mom came in. They went ahead and put an IV over. They put an IV in both arms. Actually, it took me probably. I think I got there like 4, maybe. It took me like 2 or 3 hours for them to actually transfuse me. Like 2 or 3 hours. That's a freaking long time when everyone is acting like you're dying. But this is not a story about a negligent hospital, so we're not even gonna go there. Cause I don't even think the hospital is negligent. It's just it shouldn't take that long for something like that when people are literally worried that you're gonna pass out. But given the fact that I was walking normally, walking by myself, I wasn't out of breath, I was really normal, that also plays a part. So let's say that as well. But I'm just glad I got there at the time that I did. There ended up being a hailstorm the same night. And before I had left, I actually came back inside because I'm like, man, I haven't take a shower. My grandma, she was sick a lot. And one of the things my mom taught me that may have come from her was just be clean. Like, when you go to the hospital, be clean. You don't want to go to the hospital all dirty. You got to take clothes off, XY. You don't want to go to the hospital dirty. So I'm like, oh, I need to clean real quick. I can take showers quick. Like, real quick. So I was going to do that. And my aunt was like, girl, no. Don't take no freaking shower. Go to the hospital. I don't know if you're okay. Like, this is a serious situation. And she's trying to tell me without freaking me out because she doesn't want me to get scared. She don't want me to get nervous. So she's not just telling me, hey, girl, you could die. Like, she's not saying that. And I still wouldn't have got it at that time because I would have had to do what I did the next day after I left the hospital. I was actually able to research and see what all the stuff meant, which I'll explain later. So I went to the hospital. They finally gave me the IV and everything. I was talking to the nurses. She was like, no, they should have never told you to wait a month while you're going through all of this. They should have never told you. That's not what... They're basically saying that my gynecologist office that I was going to did not handle the situation properly. And they should have told me something different, regardless of if they knew my hemoglobin was low or not. Like, when I first asked the month before, hey, I'm feeling faint, should I go to the ER? They should have told me yes, not no. So, if you're going through something like that, please go to the ER. Because every situation is not the same. Just because I made it doesn't mean that you are going to. Just because God covered me does not mean that everyone's story is going to be the same as mine. So I didn't have to stay overnight. I was at 6, so they bumped me up to 7 because they don't want to give you too much blood because there's a higher risk of, different things. Like, you can catch HIV from blood. You can catch different diseases. A blood bag can have certain antibodies in it that don't go with yours, and then your body's coagulating. There's like so many things that can happen, so they don't want to give you all the blood in the world. You're supposed to, a normal level of hemoglobin from what I've read is like 11 to maybe 13 or 15, and even 13 and 15 is a little high, but it's up there. It's not 6, it's up there. So they got me to 7. Once they got me to 7, they were like, hey, you're good. I was like, I'm fine. And they let me go. So I got discharged. And I left. And when I went home, I went back to work. And I started researching on everything that was going on. When I went home the day before from the gynecologist when I had my ultrasound, they had given me the papers and the information about fibroids. So I looked up that stuff. So when I was looking up the information about, I would assume, okay, let's not assume. I was about to say, I would assume that if you're on this channel, then you understand what fibroids are. But let's not even do that. So, fibroids are growths. They're benign growths that are on your uterus. Now, your uterus has 3 parts, so that we can be as simplistic as possible. There's an outer part, there's a muscular layer, and there's the inner part where the baby grows, right? So normally, in normal situations, fibroids will grow in one of those 3 places. And when there is some type of obstacle, or really anything that shouldn't be there, it causes problems with your body. The thing with fibroids is they can grow. There are different things that people have attributed to fibroids growing. So you all can look it up on your own time. I'm not going to go into that because I honestly, when it comes to any type of growth, I really just, I feel like that's a part of spiritual warfare. Not even that someone's being attacked, but I just think when there's no for certain cause to something, like I can't say germs cause fibroids, like germs cause a cold. You know what I mean? When there's no specific, yeah, that's it, I'm just rather not. Because someone could drink soy milk for the rest of their life every single day and never get fibroids. They say birth control can attribute to the growth in fibroids. But honestly, Black people have the leading case of fibroids. And it's 70 to 80% of all women, but mostly Black women. And if you really look at the statistics of birth control from a race standpoint, I personally don't believe that Blacks are running the race the fastest in terms of birth control, because there's a lot of Black people in Black communities that can't afford it or don't have the health care to get it. So if that were really the case, I think another race would be the leading, race for birth control. But things like that, it's kind of like there are all these theories that are not proven, because a proven theory is a law. So there are all these theories going around, and every one situation is not that one theory. So I don't like to spread, oh yeah, this is that or this is that. If you want to be as healthy as possible and stay away from all the things, do that. But if that's not your story, I understand that too, because I don't want to limit my life and tiptoe and try not to walk on egg. I don't want to live my life on eggshells trying to not get something that I could get anyway. Do y'all understand that when it comes to fibroids, there are people that can live with fibroids. Everyone's case is not mine. Like, I had a bad case of fibroids. Everyone's case is not mine. There are people that can give birth to fibroids. Like my sister, she did. There are people that have fibroids their whole life and it doesn't impact them, doesn't impact their menstrual, doesn't do any of that. That wasn't my story. So, I found out, that if your hemoglobin levels are 5 and below, around like 5 to 2, that range, then you have a couple of weeks to live, like 2 to 3 weeks. If it doesn't get treated, then most likely you're gonna die. If your hemoglobin is 2 or lower, then it goes to days, a couple days. So I was at a hemoglobin of 6 for at least 6 weeks. At least. Because I had a full cycle, which is how I got to 6. Because, you're losing blood when you're on your menstrual. So I was losing more blood than I was creating. I was anemic and losing more blood because I was bleeding. I was menstruating. Wasn't on birth control yet, nothing. So, y'all, God was literally holding me up by my collar. Like, my sister was getting married. I was going to Bible studies and helping with social media for a Bible study group called Refresh that my best friend was doing. I was doing my own ministry stuff. I started a website for my ministry stuff. I was trying to do graphic design. I was also working full time. I think I was about to start or had started YouTube. There were so many things that I was doing and things that I honestly can manage in my right mind. But here's the thing. Your blood transfers your oxygen throughout your body. I didn't have that much blood. So the reason that your life is put on the line more and more the less blood you have is because your oxygen is not flowing, your nutrients are not flowing. The things that you need for your body to work they're not happening. Your heart is there to pump blood. If you ain't got no blood, then then what? So I was losing oxygen to my brain. I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like it's like you know what you can handle, because I've been me for 25 years at that point. It was 25 years. I had been me for 25 years, so I knew what I could handle, and I was going crazy. I couldn't have certain conversations without feeling like I was going crazy, without crying randomly, without, there was like, I couldn't manage mentally the way that I needed to and the way that I knew that I normally could. And it was very frustrating to deal with because I didn't know what the cause was. And even more than that, what was frustrating was I had even now, I don't even know how to say the words to get you to understand what it felt like. But when it was happening, all I could think was when my grandma was sick. And it's like, yo, this is a horrible feeling. Like your body has turned against you. It's one thing for your body to turn against you when you're 70 years old. My body was turning against me at 25. I can't cook. I can't take a shower without feeling like I'm gonna pass out. I can't just talk to someone and have a conversation without feeling like I'm mentally drained, like feeling like I can't have this conversation, I need to go to sleep. Like fatigue 24/7. Even recording a YouTube video, I'm not doing nothing, just sitting here watching TV, feeling like I'm about to pass out. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I'm so sleepy. All those videos I posted on Unadulterated Reactions before December 22nd were me going through fibroids. And some of the videos, I look good, I look well. Some of the videos, I don't. And I went through so much, and it's so difficult because I don't have the words to express how I was feeling in a way that you could truly understand. But it was bad. And God literally carried me. Those people looked at me like I was a walking skeleton. Like I was a ghost. Not because I didn't look good. Not because I looked fatigued. But because you shouldn't even be standing right now. How do you feel? I feel fine. I feel the same way I've been feeling. I don't feel any different. I feel fine. I should have been crawling. A lot of people can't walk by themselves. People feel their hearts are racing. I didn't feel nothing. And I was at 6 for weeks. Not 2 weeks. Not 3 weeks. Like 6 weeks. So, to God be the glory. I went, got a transfusion. I came home. I researched the fibroids. I researched the hemoglobin level. And from then on, for the next maybe 3 months or so, I had to go back and forth to the lab so that I can keep getting CBCs, so I can get my blood count. So I was getting my blood count drawn so that I could know and make sure that I wasn't going back to a place of, I was gonna be anemic because that's just where my range was, but that I wasn't at like 6 or under 7. The goal is to stay above 7. So I also was then taking iron so that I can try and make sure that I had some more production. The thing about iron is that iron can constipate you, but iron can also make you, use the bathroom. It can give you diarrhea too. Iron for me kept making me, I felt horrible when I would take iron. I would feel so horrible. It's not it's not even the black stool. It's not even, the smell of stool. Poop gonna smell how poop smell. Like, that don't bother me. My whole body felt, iron is just difficult. And then I had to get on a stronger iron because I was at a deficit. So I was on ferrous sulfate, and I was also on birth control. The reason I got on birth control was this. Birth control, if you don't take the placebos, should stop your period. This is what they did not tell me. In order for your period to stop, it's most likely going to take 3 to 4 months. So, keep that in mind. Do the math. Get your calendar. Figure it out for yourself if that's something that you want to do. But, because I didn't know that. They told me that after the fact. So, I'm still going through menstrual period at times because it takes a second to kick in. I'm still bleeding randomly. When I tell y'all last year I was bleeding majority of the month, I don't care if it was 5% blood, 100% blood, 2% blood, I was bleeding majority of the month, every single month. Every single month. And the way that messes with your quality of life, when I finally got to a point where I was bleeding not as much, and I don't want to get too far. So when I was on birth control, what did happen was that it did regulate my bleeding so that it went down a lot. So if I was bleeding like 110%, it went down to like 20. So that happened over a period of time. So maybe over 2 or 3 months, maybe. I finally got to that, maybe 3 months. Yeah, we'll say at about 3 months, that's when my blood started regulating to where I wasn't bleeding a lot. So it's definitely helpful if you're in a case such as mine, where you're losing blood more than you're making blood and you've already gotten to a deficit. If I knew that I was losing blood more than I was making blood, but I caught it when I was at like 9 hemoglobin, then I may not have needed to go on birth control. But since I was already at 6, got boosted up to 7, I didn't have blood to waste. So they're also not going to bump you up extra, a whole lot more. And I am hesitant to say, if you do have to get a transfusion, to ask them to get you to 8 or at least 7 point, like close to 8. But that also takes a lot of times more bags. It'll take 2 liters, depending on where you are, of blood. And that can add on risk factors. So that I'm hesitant to say that. But at the same time, if you're in a place where, for instance, you're at 6, you go get a transfusion, get up to 7, and then you have a full period and you're bleeding for 15 days, you're going to get right back down to 6. And they don't care that you was just in here the other day. They're going to give you another emergency room bill. You're going to get another bag of blood. So it's almost kind of like, I might as well just pray over the blood and just, Lord, make sure it's clean, please. Keep it clean, please. Bless me, please. So that, you have more to work with. I didn't go right back on a period. I had just, I think, gotten off a period or something happened. I don't know. But I didn't get right back on a period to where I needed to go and do anything. But I was making sure that I was checking my blood count by myself. My doctor was not ordering them for me. Meaning she wasn't bringing it up to say, hey, go and get this checked, this, and this. She didn't do that. I had to say, hey, can you please order so that I can go get my blood count drawn so I can know where I am. I had to do that. So take control of your own health. And so I went. I was going up, building up, all the things. They were making sure I stayed on the iron because diet was not going to be enough to get me up fast. So I was doing diet, but I was also doing the iron. Make sure that you're hydrated. Birth control every day. No placebos. Skip the placebos. For me, I was able to get, the first time I could only get 3. They said they would only cover 3 because I was going through my health insurance. And so afterwards, it was like, no, you should be able to get 4. So then I ended up getting 4 packs, so 4 months at a time. I ended up changing gynecologists because when I would go and I would ask questions in the portal, the nurse would answer me, and it seems like she was telling me to do things that actively went against what was going on. Like, oh, well, maybe you should get off the birth control for a second. Well, I'm on the birth control so I don't bleed out. Just got a transfusion because I was at 6. So now you're telling me you want me to get off the birth control so I can bleed more. It's like that's. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and order all my documents. I ordered all my documents, all my scans. I said, hey, send them over to me, sign the papers. I got me a primary physician, went to him. I asked him questions about fibroids, but he's not trained in that. You know, everyone, they have specialties. And it's not that they haven't learned about it before, but it's not their specialty. So it's really hit and miss on finding a general physician that can be in depth about your specialty. But he was basically like, well, did they ever get you a full scan or full? I was like, no, they didn't. So he gave me a full lipid test. He gave me all the tests to make sure that the rest of my body was good, because I was also nauseous. So I was taking the birth control, and the first few times you take it, you might have a little cramping, you might be nauseous, you know, different things. But it was like for months, every time I ate, I was nauseous. It don't matter what I ate, every time I ate, I was nauseous, feeling like I was about to throw up. So he was trying to figure out what's going on. I was like, I don't know. So he put me on some B6. He said, get on B6, that should help you. So I was now on B6, which is just a vitamin, you know, nutrient. So it's not nothing crazy. But at this point, I was taking iron, I was taking B6, and I was taking the birth control. And so yeah, that's what I was doing for a while. Went to a new doctor, and when I was on my way to the new doctor, my old doctor sent me what I like to call termination papers. And she was like, hey, I'm no longer able to service you. I don't know if she left or she just kicked me, gave me the boot. I don't know. But either way, good riddance. I ain't like that office at all. So I went to the new doctor, which is the one who did my surgery, and she got me a new scan, a new everything. And so I'm telling you, if I got it, I'll show you, but I don't know about it. So she was basically like, hey, everything that you're going through, you're going to be going through it because fibroids are weird. Fibroids are super weird. So the symptoms that you're having, you have fibroids. That's just going to be the answer. You bleeding more today than that day, you have fibroids. I'm sorry. Don't know what to tell you. Until you get them out, you're going to be going, you're fatigued, you have fibroids. Your birth control was supposed to stop your period for, like, you're not supposed to be bleeding at all, and it's been 5 months, you have fibroids. So she was very clear with me. And my doctor, she was also a surgeon, and she had been doing fibroid-related surgeries for a very long time, along with other stuff, birth and all the things she does. But for me, what I was concerned with fibroids. So she had been doing surgery and stuff for a super long time. She didn't seem like she was surgery happy. She was not trying to, when they did my test, my ultrasound, the second time, she was saying, nah, I can't even see your endometrium, which is the inner part of your uterus. Usually you can see it, see what's going on. She's like, I can't see it at all. So my doctor was like, usually in those circumstances, because your fibroids are so big, they would just go ahead and remove your uterus. She's like, you're 25. I'm not going to remove your uterus. I'm going to try and get these out. And she showed me a picture of someone else, no name or anything like that, but someone else's fibroids that she had removed, and they were super huge. And so I just felt comfortable with her. I didn't feel like she was over here trigger happy or anything like that. But the only bad thing about her maybe is that when it came to, like, she's trying to, not that she's trying to go home, but if you got a whole lot of things to do, you got a list of things, you got a list of patients, you got questions, you ain't got no questions, or she'll try to, not even try to rush, but it's kind of like, I can't if you have a question, she definitely would answer it. But she's also kind of like to the fact, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's go. Things like that. But she also took care. She also not coddled, but made sure you're okay. She was very good. So I went ahead and I looked her up myself on the internet. I got a second opinion from one of my other aunt's doctors, and I asked him. I also asked him if he does surgery, and he didn't do surgery anymore. But he said he knew of the doctor. He gave me answers to questions that I had. He said, hey, look into this, look into this, look into this. I will also say, because I forgot to say this, when I was at the first doctor, she was telling me to get on Orion. No. Was it Orion? I don't think it was Orion. She wanted me to... She wanted me to get on something that was kind of like a... It's not a birth control, but it's like... It's similar to a birth control, except it's specifically for fibroids. So it's not going to prevent you from having a child. So I don't remember the name of it, but if I know it, I'll put it in here. And she had told me to get on that. The reason I didn't want to get on that was because there was some bone density loss that was going to be attributed with that. And I also was not about to have kids. So it was something that you can only take for 2 years. So it's like, why am I only taking this for 2 years when I'm going to have bone density loss for no reason? Because I'm still going to have to get off of it. It's not going to prevent me from getting surgery. It's not going to shrink the fibroid. It's like, there wasn't a benefit for me. Now, if I were a person that were about to get pregnant, then, or I had a husband and we wanted to have kids, then it would be like, okay, take this for like 5 months or a year, have surgery, and then have your kids. But at that time that I was talking to her, I wasn't trying to have surgery yet. So I was just trying to see, okay, what can I do to stop the bleeding so that I can just live through this thing. I did the birth control instead, but the bleeding didn't stop, which is why I ended up having to have the surgery. So, I went ahead and it might be called Orion, but I don't think it is. I don't think it's called Orion. There's like a lot of them. I like Zofran, and there's like a list of medications that are similar to that. So, yeah, that's that on there. Talked to my doctor, went to I think I went to 2 more exams with that doctor. And so I went ahead and got the surgery, or signed up for surgery. I wasn't sure what day I wanted to do, because at the time I did not have short-term disability. So this is a reminder, guys. I don't care if you ain't never been sick a day in your life. I have never had a broken bone, thank God. I'll say this, I don't want to say never. God has blessed me to not have had broken bones. I've not had surgery. I am borderline asthmatic, which means that when it comes to the restriction test, there's a certain line for asthma, like here and up. I'm right literally beneath it. So I have not had asthma attacks. I've been blessed to be okay for the most part. When I was younger, it was a little hit and miss with me. But as I've grown up, I haven't had an issue to where I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go and get on short-term disability. I didn't do it. So I was not going to be paid for the time that I was out. And so I had to figure out when I wanted to have the surgery. Was it in November or December? Just so happened December had 3 paychecks. So I would not miss out on a full paycheck and then be able to build myself up, because your apartment don't care what you got going on. So I wasn't trying to be homeless. So I went ahead and did it in December. It's a 6-week recovery period. And so I did it for then, and I will get into the story of the hospital stay in the next video. So make sure y'all stay tuned. I didn't want this video to be super long, and it's going to be so much longer if I do the hospital part. So we're just going to keep it as that. That is the story of how I found out about my fibroids. That's how I ended up deciding to get the surgery, and little things I learned along the way. So make sure y'all stay tuned for the next video. Sorry, everything is it's just a lot going on right now. I'm burping, I just ate, I feel full, mucus, it's just a lot going on. So sorry. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications so you know when I post a new video, because I am going to be consistent on this channel, make sure y'all go and subscribe to my unadulterated reactions channel. I am faithful on there and have been faithful on there since I started. So at the end of this month, if I don't miss no videos, I'm going to be at 50 movie reactions over there. So go over there if you like movie reactions. I'm still saved. Hallelujah, get saved and filled. So I try to keep cursing from the movies out of there. But in the case you don't want to do that and you want pure Christian content, this page is a ministry page. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be feeding you Bible verses every day. That doesn't mean any of that. But I am a Christian. I am a witness. We are all evangelists if we have been saved and we're witnessing and we're trying to. That's what this channel is. So I'm going to start doing movies on this channel that are purely Jesus related. I'm not a big fan of some Christian movies because they give like a Lifetime kind of feel. Y'all know the Lifetime channel? They kind of get that. I'm not a big Lifetime fan. But anything that you tell me to react to, I can react to. We're going to do Prince of Egypt. We're going to do The Most Reluctant Convert. We're going to do a Sister Act. Whatever y'all want to do that's Christian related that y'all want, be free to let me know. Passion of the Christ, Son of Man, Son of God, Son of Man, whatever it's called. All of it. I really don't care. I used to grow up watching the shows back in the day, like in the 90s or in the early 2000s. It'll be like Daniel, and it'll be his life, and all the things, and it's like all these old people. And I used to watch stuff like that with my mom. So I literally will watch whatever y'all want me to watch. So make sure, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. Let me know anything that you want me to know. Put your comments down below about fibroids. I will answer any questions that you have about fibroids down below, and make sure you stay tuned for our next video, part 2 on my fibroids journey. I love y'all with the love of Jesus Christ. Bye.
By tomorrow, yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not yet.